Hey, it's Drybear. Today I want to tackle one of the biggest obstacles that are facing players right now, and that is how to target farm loot so you can get exactly the unique you're needing to finish off your build. And we'll even extend that further to legendary aspects as well if you're looking for a specific one that helps you finish your build and get it working. But first, you should come hang out with me on my live stream. If you don't come hang out with me in the community, the next time you jump in the shower, you're going to be getting in a little too early, and you'll have to wait a couple seconds before it stops being cold and starts being warm. So let's talk about target farming specific loot drops. The first one that I want to make a public service announcement about is the change that we got last night in the hotfix category, where there was a change to Helltide chests. If you didn't know, there was a little bit of drama going on where they added in unique drops to all Helltide chests, and this was actually a little bit abusable because certain classes could go to the Helltide chests and get the uber uniques very, very easily because they had no item for that slot. So this has been re-implemented after being turned off. So now, uniques can be dropped from Helltide chests again, but they made an additional change along with this that everyone needs to know about, and that is Helltide chests will now have the chance to drop any unique and not be restricted to specific item slot limitations from any chest, which means just because you're opening a ring Helltide chest does not mean that unique rings are guaranteed to come out. It could be a unique of any kind. The reason they did this, which they didn't clearly state here, is because some classes do not have any known uniques for specific slots, namely like Barbarian or Sorceress. So what was happening is when Barbarians were going to helm chests and dropping helms, when the item rolled to be a unique, there's no Barbarian unique helm, and so it would turn into an uber unique as the only unique that they could possibly get, which means that you could target farm uber uniques using specific classes based on their loot table. So they made a global change that all Helltide chests will drop any unique of any kind, which means that this is no longer a viable strategy for specifically targeting a slot for uniques. It does mean that you still want to be doing mystery chests all over the time you're spent in Helltide, farming those uniques, getting good value out of it. But just because you need a unique chest does not mean that the chest in Helltide that have the chest items is going to drop that unique anymore. So this is no longer an option, and I do believe it's because of the loot tables for the classes. But the loot table is still an interesting aspect to target farming. Now, in general, there isn't really any way to, it's not like a specific item drops from a specific spot in the world. You're not gonna be able to hop on one foot and drink vinegar, and all of a sudden you're gonna get your exposed flesh or your tempest roar. It's just not going to happen. But there are ways where you can reduce the loot pool and increase your chances of getting the items that you want. A great tool is Diablo4.life. I'll leave this link down below in the description and in the comments if you're looking for this. And all this does is say, if I'm looking for a very specific legendary aspect, which slots on which class have the lowest drop count of legendaries for me to be able to roll at the obol vendor so I can get it. So if you're looking for Edge Masters, which is an offensive aspect that drops in specific slots, you select it and it'll tell you that one-hand weapons on Barbarian have the least amount of legendary aspects that include Edge Masters, so you have the highest chance of getting it. And you can see that down here, they list out because most of their classes have either too many in that slot or they have an additional slot that rolls those extra legendary powers. It means that you will have a slightly lower chance of getting that drop for that. It's just a useful tool that helps you see, okay, if I want something specific, there's going to be something specific that I want from these legendary rolls. So you can come here, find the one that you're looking for, and it'll tell you which is the most optimal. It's not going to be a guaranteed, right? You could still be doing this and you could still get it with a different class or a different slot, but it does increase your chances a little bit if you're looking for a specific item. Even things that might be on ring, if you're looking for aspect of the umbral, for example, to generate resource, running rings on Barbarian and Rogue is slightly better than others just for that very reason. Now, this does mean that you'll have to roll a new class and get them to the point where they can use the obol vendor in order to do it, which doesn't take too long, but it is an option for legendary powers. So we have that as an option there, and I'll leave that link down in the description. It's a useful tool if you want to min-max your drop chances. Doesn't guarantee, but it is an option for you. Now, the next thing that I want to talk about is something that is going around the Diablo community, and I was very wary of this concept because to me, it sounds like a little bit of snake oil that you're just trying to, put tinfoil on your head and it's going to work. But there is at least enough here to suggest that it could be true. We don't have an official confirmation from the devs, and we may not even get one, but there is enough here to discover and to go over. So let's go through it now. In a 2021 interview from Joe Pipiora, who at the time was the lead systems designer and is now the associate game director, he did go through a very specific topic, which was the loot tables for mob types in the game. And through this article, which I can link down in the description, you can check this out yourself as well. He mentions that there's all different kinds of loot in the game, the different weapon types, how they roll, and how they work. But there's a specific part down here that's very important to note, and that is hunting for items. He mentions that the way the system is built is that certain mobs have a limited loot pool for item types. There are plenty of enemies and monsters for the hero to encounter. Each of these monsters seem to enjoy collecting certain types of items and will be somewhat more likely to drop those than others. Bandits are fond of maces, crossbows, and boots. If you're hunting for a new pair of pants, you may want to look at Drowned. So what this suggests, and again, this is unconfirmed, but what this suggests is that the mob type in the game, they have a limited set of items. So if you're looking for a unique glove or a legendary ring, there may be specific mobs in the game that you can farm to get a higher chance of those dropping, which is interesting because we know from the devs that the way the rarity system works is it'll first drop an item that is a specific slot, then that item will roll to see what rarity it's going to be and where it's going to land. So we know that if you are looking for a unique glove, it'll first drop as a glove, then it'll roll up in rarity, and it could go all the way up to unique. So on the same website that we talked about earlier, Diablo4.life, they do have an early version of a predictor on where you can find these items based on mob type. And again, I'll have this link down in the description, but this is their unique target farming. I have not seen anything or any post, any data mining that suggests that this is accurate in any way. So I'll give you that asterisk, that disclaimer right off the bat. But if you do believe in this sort of thing, and it's possible this is true, there's enough to suggest that it is, you can actually improve your odds of getting a specific unique by going to the mob types that drop that kind of item, because it will roll up into a unique. It gives you a better chance of having done so. Now, of course, there's still lots of sources in the game that are drop agnostic. The end of a nightmare dungeon can be any kind of item. It doesn't matter what dungeon you were doing. It can be any kind of item. The same thing goes for any of the uniques coming out of Helltide chests of any type now. So if you're looking to farm uniques, two of your best places are finishing a nightmare dungeon, the item that you get at the end, as well as opening chests, and especially the mystery chests inside of Helltide. However, if you want to increase your odds even further, you can actually use this tool online, which again is linked down in the description, to target farm specific. So say you're looking for Tempest Roar, which is a Druid helm that is unique. If this is to believe, if these stats are correct, then it would suggest that the mobs that drop helms with the highest chance is going to be cultist mob sets and cannibal mob sets, which means that you'd want to do dungeons and locations that have those mob types, cultist or cannibal. For that, you can very easily select Cultist Refuge, Conclave, Serpent's Lair, Earthen Wound, and Goron Slums based on this tool. This would give you a higher chance of getting the item because it would drop more helms overall, and those helms could roll into the Tempest Roar if that's what you're looking for. So again, this is very, I would take this with a grain of salt. I have not seen any official stats or data mining to suggest that this is actually accurate, but I think there's enough here to really bite your teeth into. So if you want that extra little edge in getting what you need, possibly you may want to be doing spiders to get your gloves. Like if you're looking for Fists of Fate, Spider and Fallen have the highest drop chance of that item type, which means that it possibly does give you a higher chance of getting the unique. So this is an option for you if that's what you're looking for, to increase your chances of getting the things that you want out of the content that you're doing. And if you're doing sigils, you can find specific ones to get that as well. So those are the two options. You can use the Obol vendor and the tool here. Both these tools are pretty cool. I think they're pretty fun to play around with. You can see exactly what you're looking for and where you want to roll if you have multiple classes at the level that can use the occultist or use the occultist to re-enchant, or use the curiosity vendor to roll for obols. and then unique target farming to get specific items from specific mob types in the game. So if you found value in the video, leave a like down below. Leave a comment for the algorithm to help this video get seen by more people, and I'll see you on my live stream. If you enjoyed yourself today, leave a like down below. You can support me and my work on Patreon and view Patreon exclusive content, link in the description. Thank you so much for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next one.